entertainmentbuddha.com.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Star Wars Time, starring myself and my co-pilot, Nick Caminita. We're back after a 1 week break. We're sorry, I know, boo hiss yuck, we're terrible, we're lazy, we must be liberals or something, right? Libtards, you lazy bums. Anyways, we're back to talk all sorts of Star Wars news this week. That's right, we're not going to focus on just a movie topic or something cute like that or a list. We're actually coming at you with a bunch of random stories from all across the Star Wars galaxy. So it's going to be a fun show. Maybe a quick one. You never know. It all depends on if Nick and I feel like shitting on the prequels tonight. Right, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, we have no stories that are directly related
our
to the prequels.
Thing.
I mean, maybe tangentially in one of the final articles that we're going to talk about. But you know us. I mean, if we go down a rabbit hole, we could end up talking about episode 2 for 30 minutes. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, so like I said, we have a Baskin Robbins type of show tonight. We're going to talk everything ranging from old movies, new movies, upcoming movies, cartoons. You never know what we're going to talk about. So let's get right down to it, Nick. So the first thing we're going to talk about, this is a news item coming out of Toy Fair. Those of you, if you're like me, yes, approaching 38, still get excited about figure releases, but they're awesome. So we had Toy Fair last weekend, which would have been, the weekend of like the February 16, 15, something like that.
Yep.
There's Toy Fair out in New York, which is one of the biggest toy shows of the year across the world. And you've got Hasbro's, Funkos, Hot Toys, Kodabukaya, you name it. They're dropping their big releases for 2018. So, obviously, Hasbro, being the major toy manufacturer for the Star Wars movies in terms of figures, props, sets, they showed off some of their new toys. And one of the toy sets they showed off probably contains a spoiler, I guess, if you're not well attuned to the Star Wars universe like Nick and I. But it showed off a figure set from Solo, Nick, that kind of, I think, pays off on something both of us wanted to see, and that is the first meeting of Han and Chewie.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot from, right when the Solo stuff kind of kicked off and what we wanted to see. You wrote your article on, like, your 10 most wanted from it. And this was definitely one of them, and we finally got to see this toy reveal that does kind of break down and show us that we're probably going to get that old legend story of Han freeing or trying to free Chewbacca from enslavement at the hands of the Imperials. And then, possibly from this toy release, it looks like they both might get nabbed and then somehow find their way out after the fact. So it's pretty cool.
So I feel like, dude, I mean, like you said, I feel like we're getting exactly what we wanted. And I know you and I specifically talked about this in a prior cast, one of the Solo-centric ones, where we're kind of like, it's going to suck if they just kind of meet and they're boys. Like, that doesn't work. They almost have to draw on one of the Legends tales, and I don't care which one because I've liked them all, where these two meet and why Chewie pledges a life debt to this human.
Yeah, the big thing is the life debt, like you said, and like we were saying in the previous casts. Like, if you just have Chewie as some kind of underworld dweller, another low-level smuggler that hooks up with Han for this adventure, for this job with Beckett, then it loses that life debt, that really heavy bond that is between those two characters. But if you maintain that those old legend stories, the ones where he's freed from captivity and Han is literally saving his life, then you get to keep that strong, like, to death bond that we see Chewbacca carry all the way through Episode 7 when Han finally does meet his end. So I'm glad to see that, at least from this toy reveal, it looks like we're going to get that.
Yeah, so as Nick has hinted at, what this toy reveals is that, to me, Han has been in prison probably because of his behavior in the Imperial Academy, right? I mean, as I point out, he's literally wearing the same armor as General Veers.
Yeah, you can see the chest plate.
It's dead on. I mean, yeah. I even put up an image of Veers. I mean, it's an Imperial armor chest plate, but he is clearly has been incarcerated for something. And he even says in his narration of the teaser, I got kicked out of essentially the Empire because I had a mind of my own. So there's a good chance we're going to see Han get into the Empire, the Imperial Academy, and then quickly be kicked out, and probably kicked out to the point where they put him into prison.
Yeah.
Because he does something so fucking crazy.
Yeah, so I figured that this could play out two ways. The one way that I really think how it's gonna happen is, like you said, like, he just fucks up somehow, keeps just insubordination, keeps fucking around, doing whatever. He gets thrown in the prison, and then he meets Chewie in the prison system, either right away or through some sort of means, and then he busts them out together. Or it could happen to where he gets busted trying to free Chewie, and then they both get sent to prison, and then they orchestrate a breakout together. Not sure.
Yeah. Either way works. I mean, if we just go purely off the image, it looks like they're kind of broken off of a chain gang. So it's almost like they are, probably incarcerated at the same time, working on a chain gang or in the same cell block, and they're together and they somehow orchestrate an escape.
Yeah, and they're both covered in some sort of mud.
Oh, mud, yeah. It looks like they went through shit, and it comes with a cannon, which I'm assuming one of them's probably going to possess to help their egress, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but one would have to assume in this exchange, and it looks like it's going to get hairy and dirty and action intense, but there's probably going to have to be a notion or an act to where Chewie really recognizes Han as, like, I owe this dude, and I owe him my life.
Yeah. If it was,
do you think it's just going to be like the simple act of saving him, or do you think like Chewie's going to be almost snuffed out when Han comes in and saves the day?
Yeah, I think it could be interesting. I mean, it could be something like Chewie's literally in the middle of being, like, whipped and beaten into to an inch of his life or something like that, and Han just comes up and saves him, tackles the dude that's doing it, and kind of orchestrates this grand escape of some sort. But like you said, with the manacles on their ankles being broken and stuff, it does seem like that it could happen during the escape. Like, maybe somebody's got a shot at Chewie, Han comes around a corner, either maybe tries to take a bullet for him, jumps in front of him, or shoots the guy before he can get a shot off at Chewie. But it's definitely got to be some sort of big heroic act. Maybe, definitely, in my opinion, outside of just the breakout, I would say.
Yeah, I don't see how you can justify their tight bond by the time we meet them as being like they both decide to break out, like a buddy breakout. I mean, yeah, they'd probably be friends, but I don't see where this one big furry dude who could probably eat Han would pledge his life to him, which is infinitely longer than Han's life would ever be, without some sort of extreme event taking place.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got to see. I think it's got to be something like he literally saves his life. It's not just a breakout. It's either from, like, being tortured, like heavily tortured, or being, shot at. Maybe it has something to do with this cannon. Like, it has to be something major. It can't, like, if you just remember the Wookiees from Episode 3, it was it was a big deal that Yoda had good relations with them, and that's why he specifically went to Kashyyyk for the ground battle that was happening there, because he knew that the Wookiees don't easily trust outsiders, and they don't easily take to people who aren't a member, of their clan and of their people. So for something like this to happen between Han and Chewie, for there to be a life debt, has to entail something pretty large.
And it looks like a fairly young Han too, right?
Yeah, this looks even younger than what we've seen him in the trailer. I mean, it could be due to just the fact that
his hair could be matted down, but
yeah,
he looks. I mean, even if you're looking at the post, if you scroll up and look at the 6-inch figure, like he looks older to me in that depiction than in the little 3 3 inch figure that we're talking about.
So maybe that could be one of those time jumps. I mean, we've been talking about how the timelines
we want this.
This
is what we want. I mean, this to me is exactly how this should happen. I mean, I was pleased to see this. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I wanted it to be Han somehow freeing Chewie from bondage, just because that is the goddamn story we've heard ever since there were legends and shit beyond George's movies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, once the expanded universe, the original expanded universe started to form, I mean, this is one of the original stories, is telling the background of Han and Chewie. Yeah,
it's either he broke him out of prison or he saved him from being killed or imprisoned from the Empire. I mean, the one I know specifically is from Star Wars, was it Galactic Battlegrounds? Where I believe the Wookiees were enslaved by the Trandoshans, who were hired by the Empire to help them enslave the Wookiees, and that's how he saved them.
Yeah.
But then I believe in a comic run, Han is in the Empire, and Chewie or something is attacking the Empire, trying to save his people, and he's getting fucked up, and Han's ordered to kill him, and Han's like, no, fuck you, and basically that's how he gets kicked out of the Empire, and him and Chewie become life homies. So I think this is a kind of a good blend of all of them. It looks like, I think that's what it's going to end up being.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how it plays out in the film. And I mean, like you said, from this tour reveal, it's definitely a positive in the direction of what we wanted to see. So I'm happy with it. I mean, we're getting close, dude. We're less than, February is coming to an end. March, April, May.
It's gonna be here before you know it. And I already know it right now. I'm gonna be in a vacation because it'll be in between semesters. So I'm gonna have plenty of time to soak it in, see it a few times. And I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping for the best. I really am. I do think it's gonna end up being a good movie.
Yeah. I'm starting to slowly build more faith over time, and I mean, Ron Howard.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. When you think about it, it does make sense that they kind of held back on the marketing, considering that they literally just jammed Star Wars down our throats for pretty much from, March, April of 2017 through December.
Yeah, dude. They went pretty. I mean, they didn't go hard with the TLJ stuff earlier in the year.
Not until the fall. But again, the fall would have made perfect sense for Solo stuff. But I think, and there's been stories out there that they purposely were like, you know what, fuck it. This is the TLJ's time. It's gonna get all the fucking spotlight, all the promo. And even after it, even 6 weeks, 7 weeks after, we're just going to kind of give them a break from Star Wars in your face on TV.
Yeah. I think that this could be like an experimentation for Disney and for Lucasfilm. Like, can we take this, protracted period of time and do a marketing push for a movie that may not have
in a quick window. I mean, what they're doing here is like, can we get this bitch to a bill with only 2-3 months of somewhat advertising?
Yeah, and I mean, I was assuming that like we would kind of keep shit rolling out once the Solo train started, and I mean it started on Super Bowl Sunday, and we did like for about a week and a half.
That whole
after
week
that.
you got blasted. Now it's back into hibernation.
Yeah, so it is a different marketing approach for Disney and Lucasfilm, whether that be because they're not 100%
you could
confident.
argue a lot of the reveals last week at Toy Fair were pretty big. I mean, that one right there is pretty fucking huge, and there were a lot more that I didn't even talk about. But I mean, you got a bunch of new figures coming out, and it showed a fair amount. But yeah, I mean, I do kind of get it now to where Disney and Lucasfilm were like, hey, let's just kind of throttle this one back a bit.
Yeah.
And honestly, dude,
too, that they would start trotting the actors out already.
Yeah, it's getting there. I mean, that for sure. Come April, I mean, they'll be full on mid-April easily.
Yeah, but I'm definitely interested, and this next article that we're going to talk about briefly makes me even more interested. Because one of the characters that we talked about from the initial trailer for Solo was this little alien monkey type creature with 4 arms.
Well, yeah, I mean, because let's be honest, and this could just be clever editing, but the way this character is introduced is when Beckett says to Han is like, "Hey, I'm formulating a team," and that's where you get like, okay, obviously Han's implied. Then you get Kira. Then you get a shot of Leet, and then there's a shot of this fucking forearm motherfucker, like a prominent shot in some sort of cockpit seat, right?
Yep, driving something.
So I mean, that to me, and we even talked about when we dissected the trailer, like, okay, this guy's probably going to be more than just a 2-bit, just quick shot dude.
Yeah. And now knowing who plays, who does the voice acting for this character, it's pretty much confirms it. And the voice actor is Jon Favreau. For people out there in the Marvel universe or people who are just fans of movies in general, I mean, Jon Favreau is definitely a recognizable character.
Yeah, it just goes to show when you're famous, you get to do a lot of cool shit.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean,
if you're famous and good at what you do, you get to do a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, you just go up to,
I mean, this guy's directed Marvel movies and has starred in them as a character.
Yep. I mean, even going back to, the first thing that I can really remember Favreau
he kicked off the MCU. He
Iron
was
Man.
literally one of the main players in this juggernaut now 10 years later known as the MCU that's approaching phase 4. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he did Iron Man. He's as big as RDJ.
Yeah, if he didn't do the job he did with Iron Man, then the MCU might not be what it is now.
It could be DC.
Yeah,
people, it could be DC.
I mean, it could be in a completely different universe, and I mean, so it's all thanks to this guy because he really resurrected it. If you think about what came prior,
I still think Feige is.
Oh yeah, Kevin Feige is a huge part.
He's everything. He's the goddamn glue. He's the visionary. He's the one that fucking figured all this out. I mean, if you think about the only movie they stumbled on was the Hulk.
Yeah. And like
because
honestly,
they aborted him, and I didn't even think it was a bad movie, but they aborted that Hulk. I mean, literally, that Hulk doesn't exist. I mean, Ruffalo's Hulk, his origin story was Avengers 1.
Yep. I was actually a fan of Edward Norton as
I thought
as
it was
Hulk.
good, but I mean, they scrapped the look of that Hulk, everything.
Yeah, they really kicked it in
but
the ass.
But it still counts.
For,
I mean, it's still part of Phase 1. I mean, it's a legit entry. I mean, they didn't like completely abort it, but
well, they kept the general. They kept the general guy,
I mean,
so like some of it carried over.
Exactly.
But yeah, dude. I mean, Jon Favreau, is another one of those Hollywood guys who made the successful transition between acting and directing, and now he's living up to his Disney and Marvel stature by voicing this character. And like you said in the article, I mean, with him voicing it, it's probably going to be a more important character than we may have first gleaned. So I'm really interested to see how this little guy turns out and what his fate is, because
I mean, again, who knows, it could just be a fucking courtesy to Favreau to give him a Star Wars credit from a fellow buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he could be like Two Tubes, from Rogue One, where
exactly, like, I mean, he gets one scene and that's about it, and a line or two.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Or it could be a Maz Kanata type. I think I mentioned that too, where, I mean, he doesn't get a ton of time, but he's prominent enough that, you know, people remember him. He may get an action figure. I mean, if he gets an action figure, you know he's legit.
Dude, I'm almost looking at this character like he could be the the guy from Thor Ragnarok, the dude who the director played, the Kiwi character, the fucking I can't remember his name.
What's his name? Korg or something?
Yeah, it's the big rock, like the big rock dude with the fucking funny voice. I mean, he was in it, pieces here and there. But he was funny and people remember him. So that could be what Favreau's little monkey guy is in this movie. So everything good, for Solo. We got the toy reveal. We got this new little character from Jon Favreau, and we obviously got all the goodies we got a few weeks ago. So I mean, we're coming from a period of time. I mean, we're not even 2 months out from when me and Matt were both saying, like, man, this movie could be like dead on arrival, and now we're our tone is
hey, we what, dude, we were just being Star Wars fucking fanboys is what we were doing. I mean, we weren't doing anything different than anyone else that's like us was doing. I mean, as silly as we sounded back then, if you think about things now, we're fucking fanboys. That's what we do.
Dude, I think if Solo takes off and hits the bill, I think we might have to build a shrine to the mouse and then just worship. Just bow down.
I will. I mean, you're the one that hates their vision. I mean, who you kidding? I've been on board since 7, brother. I mean, 7, 8. I'm like, give me more.
I'm ready.
You're the one ready to burn the house down. You're signing the petition. You're ready to strike it from cannon. So, I mean, speaking of Nick's hatred, and for people like Nick, you won't be happy with this news, but we did get confirmation this week that Star Wars The Last Jedi is making its home debut on March 13th. Now, that's just going to be the digital HD version, which will be UHD 4K, I believe, on iTunes and Vudu. But then it will hit Blu-ray and 4K UHD on disc on March 27th. So, and I think we've kind of hinted at that. I mean, I believe The Force Awakens came out late March on Blu-ray, so it only makes sense that the TLJ is coming out then. But some of the big news, Nick, I mean, outside of you hating it, is that there's going to be 14 deleted scenes.
Yeah, I mean, it could make the movie way better. I mean, if there's a way to like splice those deleted scenes into
you'll get
the movie
Cam and
itself.
cut. He's going to get the Cam and Eda cut. Nick's going to burn the shit to hard drive, take the deleted scenes, sew them in, and then basically throw it up on YouTube and say this is how it should have been.
Yeah,
Fire Rian Johnson.
Yep, that's my plan, right, for the time being, and then I'll just I'll take Ryan's director's commentary. I'll just do my own voiceover.
Yeah, you'll dub over it, be like the whole time, just be like, see, way better, so much better, super better. He sucks. I'm the best. I'm awesome.
I mean, that's my plan. That's how I'm gonna get into the director's chair for episodes 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
So easy peasy. But yeah, like you said, dude, 14 deleted scenes. We got a peek at one of them during the initial trailer with the book reveal too, right? They were talking about the book
it's
reveal.
when they were talking about how
DVD.
the book is gonna feature some of the deleted scenes, and so yeah, I mean, you had to deal with Rey running to save the caretaker village, even though it was mostly an illusion put on by Luke. It was her Force lesson 3. And I mean, who knows what else is going to be in it? I mean, I think 14 deleted scenes is awesome.
We're probably going to get a lot more of the kids at the casino and a whole just bunch of casino scenes.
But you know what else you're getting is a feature-length documentary by Ryan.
Yeah, I love those things, dude. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
of
which I think is going to be great. So I didn't see anything about commentary and whatever else is going to be packed into the special features. I don't know if all these are confirmed for the digital release because, we've been talking about this now. How I'm trying to transition to digital, and we've stressed out about what are we going to do with the Star Wars, and oh my God, it's coming out 2 weeks before the disc. So I don't know, dude. What are you gonna do, man? Are you just you're still all in on disc, right? I mean, you're just gonna wait for the later release and towards the end of March.
It's now I'm starting to think, dude. If the digital has the chock-a-block full everything like the Blu-ray, like the physical has, then I might just take the dive. You know.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, and as we've kind of chatted throughout the week, and this is kind of hedging on the fact that we almost can guarantee there's probably going to be another release later in the year, like there was for The Force Awakens, where they released the 3D version that also had JJ's commentary in it. So, dude, I'm kind of thinking it may be wise to drop the $20 on the 4K UHD digital early.
Yep. And
just hope that you're going to get some sort of special bonus super edition later on that you won't feel bad about spending another, maybe $30 on buying later.
Yeah, and that's kind of shitty. I mean, I this is what we were talking about, like you said before, like during the week, having to buy 2 editions of
it hurts, but I did it. I willingly did it for The Force Awakens. I've already done it. I mean, I bought that movie on disc twice.
Yeah.
So I paid premium both times. Where now, I mean, thanks to Apple essentially saying, hey, now that we offer 4K HDR, we're gonna kind of set the price market, and that's about $20. So you can now get 4K UHD HDR Atmos level type of movies through Movies Anywhere if you watch them on Vudu, if you buy them through Apple, for $20. So if I can get fucking The Last Jedi 2 weeks early for $20 and 4K UHD Atmos on Vudu, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Like, where I mean,
and it's also going to play 4K on Apple too, by the way, even regardless of which platform I buy it on.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're younger listening to this podcast, if you're, in your early 20s, stuff like that, late teens, you're listening to us.
Yeah, they're like, shut up, idiots. What are you talking about, you fucking dummies?
Discs.
We're going to steal it, you idiots. We've been watching this since December, dummies.
Yeah, I mean, they probably have never bought a physical CD, never owned music that they could hold in their hands before.
They'll watch on YouTube or steal it on Kodi. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, so... For us old guys, we're still connected to
but people born in the 80s and
90s,
90s, they know what we're talking. I mean, there is like a sense of nostalgia for holding something. And for me in particular, I mean, I own multiple versions of the originals.
Me too.
I've got the DVDs of the prequels. I've got the fucking Blu-ray set. I've ripped the Blu-ray set to get the digitals. I mean... So I got multiple versions of that shit. I own multiple versions of The Force Awakens right now. I feel like if I don't have a disc sleeve to slide next to them all for TLJ, that there's something wrong with me.
I know, right? Like you said, I have the 96 re-release. I have the VHSs. This is all back at home in Louisiana, not with me here. I have the prequels on DVD. I have the full Blu-ray box set. And like you said, I have the TFA and then the Rogue One. So it's weird that we're in this stage now where we're talking about maybe we're not going to have that set. Like you said, maybe you don't have the TLJ to put next to everything else. And then you're...
Well, I mean, come on. We qualified this with basically saying, even if we buy the digital, if they come out with another special release, we're probably buying that.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, I don't even have a 3D TV, but, I'll get the...
I'll buy it to watch on fucking PS View, because that shit's nasty, man. I mean, that's literally like watching it in a theater by yourself.
The PSVR. I might have to
I'm sorry, not View, the VR. Yeah, I mean, it literally, because you can make the screen, honestly, fucking 100 feet big.
That's pretty sick.
And it's like you're sitting there staring at an OmniMax screen, fucking right in your face.
All right, dude. I might have to drop the 200.
Well, they've dropped the VR. Yeah, it's like $199 now. I mean,
yeah, and it comes with something.
Do you have a Pro?
Yeah, I have a Pro.
Oh, so yours will look even better than what I see because I'm still whipping the original model.
Yeah. So like, how are you all corded up with it? Like, you just have like cords fucking hanging all over you or something?
Well,
or
I mean, there's one major cord going from the special processor that comes with it to the headset, and then you plug headphones into that cord, so you can essentially tuck one bundle right behind you. I mean, to me, the cords aren't even an issue. The issue may be the headset sitting on your head for fucking 2 hours plus.
Yeah.
I mean, there's good reason to take a break mid-movie when you're watching a movie in VR because the headset may wear on you. But I'm telling you, man, you get at least 720p resolution, if not close to 1080. It's brighter because you're not wearing 3D glasses.
Yep.
It just looks natural. I mean, it literally looks like you're sitting in a theater with 3D glasses, but not glasses because it's still bright, but you're still getting the 3D effect, and the screen's fucking huge, and there's no fucking people sitting around you.
Yeah, that sounds pretty sick. So eventually, maybe when I get my tax returns, that'll be a little gift to myself.
Yeah, because I know they've slashed it to $200, and it like I said, if you got a Pro, it's worth. I mean, you can watch TV on that bit. You can watch Netflix through that motherfucker, and literally have a fucking 100-foot TV in front of your face.
Just like completely jack in, dude. That's like we're close to the Matrix now. We're getting there. But
altered carbon, man.
I think it's gonna be. I'm probably going to go digital HD. I mean, because digital HD, dude, is like 2 weeks out, we're talking.
That's like, dude, that's the draw. I mean, that's where it's coming down to. I mean, it comes down to your patience level. And like you said, if you're going to get the 14 deleteds and the feature length, if they're going to be in the digital, why not?
Yeah,
because there is a strong possibility that there's going to be some sort of re-release later on this year, if not early 2019.
Yeah, I just don't know if Disney's gonna can they justify doing another 3D? I mean, I guess they don't give a fuck. Like, it costs nothing to make the DVD.
Of course they can justify it. I mean, the fact that they're releasing this day one in a 4K UHD disc, that's big for Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't start that till Guardians 2, I believe, and now a lot of their movies are coming out in 4K. But yeah, they could hold back the 3D release because I don't think it's coming out in 3D in any version from any retailer in March.
Yeah. So that could be it. It could be the same deal like they did with TFA.
Yeah, and again, I don't unless they're counting the feature length director documentary as the commentary. I don't think he's going to have a commentary track on it either.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's a really good chance. So I think I'm going digital, and I'm just going to roll the dice. And you never know, maybe one day you'll roll through fucking Amazon and it's on sale for fucking $12 or something.
Oh yeah, dude.
You just grab it to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, I periodically check that no matter what, just to see. And
dude, I just bought Final Fantasy 15, which I probably won't play for a year, for $18 on Amazon for Xbox One, just because it was on a flash sale.
Yeah, that's a
fucking deal, dude. I mean, that is a fucking deal.
Yeah, I mean, a fucking game that would usually cost you $60 for 18, really.
It's still,
can't.
It's almost a year old or whatever, and it's still selling for 50 new or 60 new, and they just had it flashed. It was only for Xbox One. I was like, fuck it, it's Xbox One enhanced. That means 4K. Sure. Yep. I'm still playing through fucking Zelda, bro. I've knocked out all the beasts. I've done all the memories, but the one that's at the castle.
Yeah, that one's a little tricky to get to.
So I'm kind of like, I don't know how many hearts I need to go face Ganon. I don't know if I should just go do it or if I should keep dicking around. Like,
Did you get the Master Sword?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, I did that. I did that easy because, like I said, you told me I need my 13. I got those. So I think the only other thing I may want to do is find all the great fairies to try to rank up my armor a bit.
Yeah, that's another.
And then sometimes
one.
finding shrines are fun, but I don't know how much more I really need to play just to put this bitch to bed.
Yeah, that's what I got to a point where I that's what kind of fatigued me, is I tried to do too much before just going to it, because I'm like,
it's dangerous though, because it compels you to do that. I mean, this whole week I've had fun just kind of doing the captured memories, but at the same time exploring around them. Like, oh shit, I didn't get that shrine, I'll just run over and do it, you know. But I'm sitting here going like, dude, you got a lot of great games you need to check out, like Horizon, Titanfall 2, fucking Final Fantasy 15. I mean, let's move on.
Yeah, you can sink a lot of time into Zelda for sure.
All right, so let's back to Star Wars. Star Wars time, not game time. What do we got? So next thing, we're moving on from, you know, Solo and the earlier period pieces, and we're getting into some new future Star Wars stuff, right, Nick? So I guess the thing, let's touch on, let's just do the episode 9 shit. Let's stick with the new trilogy. So there was news this week. I guess JJ was on Colbert. I don't know if he's promoting something new. I mean, he wasn't promoting Star Wars, but obviously Steven's a nerd. I mean, he's a big Lord of the Rings guy, Star Wars guy. So he asked JJ about his Star Wars work and what it's meant to him, whatever. And during the conversation, JJ revealed that him and his writing partner Chris Terrio have finished the episode 9 script, which at this point, Nick, sounds like it's almost completely rewritten from probably what it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, like he said,
for multiple things, like 2 major life events, which was Carrie's death and then the removal of the original director-writer.
Yeah. So there was a lot of work to be done on there. I'm sure that JJ and Chris had a big task in front of them, but to know that they have finished this so far out from the filming starting, which is in July, I mean, that's pretty good. So they obviously had a clear idea of what they wanted to do in this movie. They had a story ready to go, and they went in and they just took it over, and they did everything their way, and the Lucasfilm Story Group didn't have anything to say about it, and they gave them the A-OK, and they're ready to roll. So it's pretty good. Which,
I mean, honestly, people that were pissed that JJ got this gig again, I mean, they're just fucking angry troll bastard fucks, you know? I mean,
they could have given it to anybody.
Exactly. But I mean, you gotta remember, this guy did the first movie, so he had a ton of input on creating the everything.
Yeah, the entire universe.
Literally the entire everything. All the major players, the dynamics between the factions. I mean, he was one of the original creators. I mean, outside of Michael Arnold, who essentially got booted but was allowed to keep his name on it, I mean, JJ and Kasdan crafted the new trilogy. I mean, they set the stage that the other stories were going to be built upon. So why would you not want that guy to come in and close out that narrative thread?
He was the perfect choice. I mean, the guy probably, when he was creating, like you said, everything for episode 7, he probably had a story in his head for everything for 8 and 9. So,
and I'm the first one to tell you, I would have preferred one director for a trilogy. And I honestly think that they learned their lesson. That's why they're now going, Rian Johnson, you get a trilogy.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
Because, dude, you can't... These guys are fucking far out artists. I mean, they do not share the same visions, nor could you ask them to. And so the fact that they are asking these guys to not only direct the movie but also fucking write them, it's insane when you think about it.
Yeah, it's not the same situation like you had with the OT, where you had 3 different directors, but behind all 3 directors,
George was providing the fucking notes, man. I mean, George was guiding the story still. I mean, he might not have been like the main writer on the other 2 or whatever, but he was still sitting there saying no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. He was the story group.
Yeah, the final call came to George.
Yeah, I mean, he's the goddamn creator, period.
Yeah, so in this situation where it seems like the story group is kind of playing it more in the hands of the director and writer team.
Well, yeah,
than
they're an
as,
approval board, if
force.
anything. I mean, they're an approval board. It doesn't even sound like they give notes. It sounds like they provide notes, and that's it. Like, no, change this. Okay, that's fine. And they're not, like, saying what these guys have to write, which to me was surprising. But, I mean, that was made clear, I think, with the Johnson movie.
Yeah, exactly. There was definitely no like clear direction saying like you have to write this or this is the story beat that you have to hit.
No, I mean he specifically said I would write my shit and take it to them and they for the most part would approve it.
Yeah. So it would, like you said, dude, it would be interesting to see like, how this trilogy would play out if JJ was on all three, but seeing how it might feel weird now that you have the one director opening and closing the series and then a different one in the middle. So we'll have to see how kind of like the whole flow and continuity of this trilogy comes together when it's all said and done in 2019.
Well, I mean, dude, think about it. In the end, JJ can come in and just be the fan hero if he wants. I mean, and that's, I still think, was the brilliance of Ryan's approach. I mean, as much as he pissed people off, the way he left a lot of the major shit, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, like he didn't, I mean, aside from...
You do whatever you want. You can bring Luke Skywalker back. You can make Rey whoever you want her to fucking be. I mean, if you really feel like she needs to be a fucking Skywalker, a Kenobi, or a fucking Palpatine, you can still do it.
Yeah.
I mean, all that shit's fair game. I mean, the only thing you can't do is bring Snoke back in real life. I mean, you can even use him in fucking flashbacks if you want to.
Yeah. There's free reign for him to.
So as much as Johnson did, he still left it a blank canvas for the third guy.
Yeah, and
he's a genius. He's a fucking genius.
That's the thing about a middle movie. You make decisions in it, and then if something is really egregious, or if something
they don't get paid off until the third movie, anyways.
Yeah, so you have space to fix it or do whatever you want with it. So. We'll see, but I mean, for them to really come in, I mean, when were they announced as the new directing, or JJ was announced as the director, and then Terrio was the writer, his writing partner? But that was what, November?
I don't think that late. It might have been early fall.
Okay, I'd have to go back.
I mean, either way. Episode 9 was supposed to be filming already, like literally January. And when the change was made, they decided to punch back filming until the summer, which we also now know is going to actually be end of July.
Yeah, so you figure they start in July.
And they punch back the start of the movie from May to December.
Yeah, so they start filming in July. You figure principal photography probably wraps up in November, maybe early December.
4 or 5 months.
Yeah, and then after that, you have a full year for posts, for reshoots, and everything like that. So it's on track. It's on track for what the normal, Skywalker saga movies will be.
Yeah, in this day and age, I mean, even back when George came with the prequels, it took him 3 years per, but that was at the dawn of the digital era. I mean, he was pioneering that technology. I mean, now they're making some of these insane movies in a year, maybe a year and 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Like movies that require tons of digital effects.
Yeah, like this, like you said, the Star Wars movies. I mean, tons of digital effects.
They took 3 years apiece, man. I mean, it was 99, 02, and 05.
Yep, and we know why, because they were CG heavy. Like, They loaded about as much CG into those movies.
Funny thing is, they look more CG than the Clone Wars cartoon, and that whole fucking thing is CG.
There was some real bad looking shit in episode 2. Episode 3 had its bad moments as well. Like, to me, episode 3, it's just...
Dude, like I said, and I'll say it over and over, episode 1 is the best movie out of the prequels, dude.
It's just everything in episode 3 looked too clean. Like, even like on Utapau, like everything looked too clean.
Episode 3 is a fucking pile of shit. You know my opinion on it, and we vowed to the listeners we weren't getting into it. I mean, it's fucking terrible. I mean, I would go right here. The Phantom Menace is the best prequel, hands down. It looks the best. It has the most believable story that isn't just complete garbage. Period.
Clip it,
Done.
people.
Take it to the bank. Duel of Fates, Darth Maul. That's all you need. Anakin's a little 10-year-old. Of course he's going to be whiny and shitty. Who cares? Qui-Gon Jinn.
Episode 1, and then Clone Wars TV shows. Those are your.
That's it.
Those are your
Get outta
prequel
here.
highlights.
Yeah. Everything else is fucking barf.
But yeah, so episode 9, December 2019. I'm excited. Obviously, there was JJ is not going to give up any kind of story beats or anything like that this far out. He knows what's going to happen. He's not going to tell anybody. But it's good to know that 5 months out from recording or from filming, the script's already wrapped up and done. So no need for on the set rewrites, hopefully, or panicking that you're.
I think that's
close.
what JJ implied in his quote. It feels really good to just have it done, something to work off of now. We can literally just start prevising and building shit out from here until principal.
Yeah. Have everything really polished and ready to go.
Yeah,
so,
I mean they can just start nailing down the look and feel of the universe at this point.
Yep. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so moving on, the next big thing we got this week, and this comes in terms of, this came from Yak Face, this guy I follow on Instagram. He's a big Star Wars toy nerd hunter. Good site. I still think we're better Star Wars fans, but you never know. Anyway, so he found some copyright filings out there for a property called Star Wars Resistance. And he found copyrights that include shit for toys, games, playthings, clothing, paper articles, cardboard, transmission, computer, you name it. So all this filing for Star Wars Resistance covers all those licenses, which implies that it's probably going to be some sort of major Star Wars project, which is either going to be TV, game, or film.
Yeah, to me, the fact that they have clothing and footwear in there, just general clothing, almost negates a game completely.
Correct.
That just knocks it out. I don't think it's definitely not mobile. And I don't think it's AAA either. So you're getting down to like you said, TV show or movie. Probably not a movie, just because we have a good feel for the films and everything like that already. What's
right,
coming out.
And we know. Some people are like, well, maybe Rian Johnson. Well, no. He already said he's not shooting in anything we know about, so that negates the Resistance.
Way off. And then if we take a look at the current running Star Wars TV show, it's called Star Wars Rebels. So what would make sense for a new Star Wars TV show that is going to take place in the new time period that the new movies are following in?
Animated, probably, because you even brought up a few weeks ago that Luke, what was it, ILM, Lucasfilm?
Yeah.
Someone was hiring an animation director.
Yeah, they were hiring an episodic director for a new animation project. So there we go.
I honestly think, as I believe you were working towards, Star Wars Resistance is going to be Star Wars Rebels, but set in the Resistance period of, Leia building up the Resistance, or maybe a similar faction like Phoenix Squadron for the Rebels in the Resistance that we never really saw on film, or maybe we got glimpses of them, but now we're going to get a deeper backstory.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of unexplored characters within this new trilogy of movies that we could dive a little deeper into. Obviously, you have the entirety of the Resistance. You have characters like Maz Kanata, who haven't had a lot of, screen time. You have General or Admiral Amilyn Holdo, who we just got in one movie. Fantastic character. Could be great to bring in for a TV show of sorts. So there's a lot of interesting... Trap. Yeah. Could bring back Akbar. Should give him some justice before he gets sucked out of a fucking ship and killed unceremoniously.
He did get fucking bitched.
Yeah, he did.
He did get shafted.
Yeah, not even a little bit of reference. But yeah, dude, like you said, I think that this is the next step. This is Filoni's next project. I feel like Resistance is going to go there, and then we'll get the same kind of deal like we're getting with Rebels now. So I'm pretty excited for this. And it makes sense, too, because if you think about it from a perspective of new Star Wars fans, the younger generation, even post-prequel generation, they're not really, I mean, unless they've been shown Star Wars by their parents or, friends, anything like that, old Star Wars, they're not really as familiar with the Rebels time period and the prequel time period as we are, as the original fans and the older fans. Like they're more familiar with these new characters and this new time period. So while they could enjoy watching Rebels, it's hard for them to make those connections like we can with the OT or the prequel trilogy or anything like that. Like this is their show, the show that they can make the links to with the new characters and the new time periods and stuff. So it's a good move.
Oh man, my kid's still just hooked into R2 and R2 only. I mean, R2 spans generations.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, R2 is timeless.
That's why he's one of the best characters in Galaxy of Heroes, because he's every faction. Like literally every good faction he belongs to, because that's how long he's been around.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you going back to the Galactic Republic, the
exactly.
Alliance,
like he's literally part of the Republic.
Yeah, like he's
and then the Rebellion, and then the Resistance. I mean, he's everything.
Yeah.
Love that guy. All right. Well, speaking of Star Wars Rebels, right? I mean, we're kind of working towards our closing discussion here. And by the way, if anyone is a Rebels fan and you haven't watched the return episodes, by the way, it's back February 19th. It came back with a 2-episode block. And really, people, I think we only have 4 more episodes to go. Maybe 6 total, but I'm pretty sure only 4 left, which is horrible. So spoiler alert, because we're going to talk about the 2 block that just happened, and it was a doozy, my friends, a doozy. So again, warning, spoiler alert for Star Wars Rebels, Jedi Knight, and I believe the other episode was Doom. So here we go. All right, Nick. So again, I know you haven't really been a dedicated Rebels watcher like myself. Which I hope one day you get to, because
I'm gonna catch up.
The way this moment pays off to me just proved that I didn't waste my time watching this show and getting invested in the characters and the universe, because this episode that happened, it was called Jedi Knight, but spelled Night. Very clever, I know. It was it to me, and I was so compelled that I wrote an editorial on it, basically saying that this animated show with this one episode essentially gave the Star Wars universe as a whole, I'm talking games, books, movies, other cartoons, it gave the franchise as a whole one of the most touching hero sacrifices it's ever featured. And I ended up ranking it against 3 other iconic sacrifices from the films, Nick, and that was Anakin's sacrifice in Return of the Jedi to save his son and vanquish Emperor Palpatine. There was Obi-Wan's sacrifice to allow Luke, Han, Leia, and the droids to escape the Death Star. There was Luke's sacrifice to give the Resistance enough time to bail.
Yep.
Okay. Major fucking moments, right? All Skywalker. We're talking blue blood, blue chip level Star Wars narratives. This cartoon, to me, ranks among them, if not above all of them, except Return of the Jedi, because of my personal attachment to that sacrifice.
Yeah, dude, you spoke very highly of this.
It killed me. I'm almost a 38-year-old man, and I was on the cusp of sobbing. It wasn't just shedding a tear. There were tears, plural, like streaming. And I had that pain in my throat of when you feel like shit because you're so sad. and even when I watched it, because they released the clip the day after, even when I just rewatched the clip, and it's beautiful. The whole scene. It's like a 2-3 minute scene in this animated Star Wars show that just killed me emotionally because of how it was shot and how it gave a prominent character, a main character for 4 years, a fantastic send-off through death. And again, it was a cartoon.
Yeah, dude. I think this is Filoni realizing that he never got the opportunity to really wrap.
No, you're dead.
Wars
You're exactly right. And honestly, anyone that watched that show, you'll probably agree with Nick and I that it's a travesty that they were not allowed to close out the Clone Wars as they initially envisioned. Because we were just talking about it, a few minutes ago. I mean, the show is fantastic. I mean, in terms of storytelling for that period, which had a huge black eye on it because of the prequel movies, was phenomenal. And where it was going was getting better and better and better because, where we left it, Ahsoka was framed and it got vanquished from the Jedi, and you started to see, like, Anakin fraying a bit, and it was leading up towards Episode 3 and his betrayal. And we probably were going to get more insights into his inner struggle between the light and the dark. But no, we lost it all because for some reason Disney was like, you know what? Hey, we own you now, and we want you to focus on our ideas. So fuck that shit.
Yeah. So you got the lost episodes, as they called the last season on Netflix.
I still think Rebels probably could have benefited from one more season. I mean, 4 seasons is rough.
Yeah, and it's, again, like, I think
they're short too, man. I mean, I think last season might have been 16 episodes. I mean,
yeah, usually 30-minute seasons, like 30-minute shows get like 20 episodes per season. But I feel like, again, like, Disney wants to keep that ball rolling in terms of, like, where their primary continuous narrative is taking place. And they probably felt like, okay, we've lived in this prequel, like, old original trilogy prequel time for a little too long now, and all of our buck is with this new time period. So while they probably could have gone another season for sure, like you said, like go into a 5th and really kind of extend the narrative and wrap things up with a bow, Disney was probably like, look, we're making bank here in the new time period, in the 7, 8, 9 time period. So we want to move that primary continuous narrative, the show, into that time period too, as quickly as possible. And they probably want to get it going. I mean, I don't know when this new property is going to release, but they probably want to get it going pretty close to when the TV or the movies wrap up. I mean, we're talking 2019 is the final.
I mean,
one.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. I mean, I think that's definitely what they're shooting for. I don't know if they'll try to preempt 9.
Yeah. I mean, like,
but
you said,
I think you're right. I think if this is truly going to be an animated series, I think they'll be shooting for that, maybe spring of 20.
Yeah. I mean, they could try to preempt the final movie. I think it'd be hard though, because like we said earlier when we were talking about the Star Wars Resistance post, there was also that job posting for an episodic director for an animated series. That if they're just getting into that phase now, hiring directors, they're probably a little farther out from having a final product, or at least a half a season or a full season ready to go before December 2019. But we'll see. But yeah, dude, like, Rebels is one of those things where I always did have kind of trouble initially, just like keeping, like, well, in general, I have trouble keeping up with live TV. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, I just binge watch shit after it's over and it's available all together. But even with Clone Wars, something that I really enjoyed, like, I wasn't able to just keep up with it on its live run, and I like, when it came to Netflix and it was on Netflix is when I finally finished the entirety of it. And Rebels, what I'll probably do is go through some unscrupulous methods and find it either. I don't think I have Disney XD with my cable package, so I might have to go to Cody and work some magic and watch it there. But because of just the way that these storylines are playing out, and like how highly you've spoken of it in particular, like I definitely want to get on the Rebels train quickly.
Yeah, I don't. I honestly, you're probably gonna have to wait till Disney launches their VOD because they clearly have avoided Netflix for it.
Yeah.
So I don't even think you can watch the whole series on XD anymore. The last time I checked, I believe they're starting to like scrub some of the earlier seasons.
Yeah, they're nixing them off. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might have to pull out some of my old pirate ways to figure it out, but we'll see. I'll get there. And then the last thing we wanted to talk about in terms of Rebels is a tie back to the Clone Wars.
You got to be like a hardcore Star Wars fan to probably pick up on these references coming at you here. But if you watch the original Clone Wars program, you this should make sense to you.
Yeah. So one of the really interesting arcs from the Clone Wars series was a 2 or 3 episode arc that happened on the planet of Mortis, and it was one that tried to explain to us in the best terms that Star Wars could exactly what balance of the Force meant, and it used these
and the
three
chosen one,
and the chosen
one.
The function of the chosen one, and it used these 3 characters known as the Father, the Son, and the Daughter to signify the Force and keeping it in balance. The Son, as you said in the article that you wrote up on this, Matt, the Son was the embodiment of the dark side of the Force. The Daughter was the embodiment of the light side of the Force, and the Father was the embodiment of the balance. In this arc, you had Ahsoka and Anakin transported to this planet. It happened in a very weird way. Like, they were on a ship going somewhere. I believe Obi was with them on the ship, and then there was some sort of like time blink or time, jump.
Well, don't they kind of target Anakin and pull him in?
Pull him. Yeah, it's like, but for Obi, when they came out of it, he was like, he didn't know anything happened. He was like, we've been sitting here this whole time. So yeah, essentially, like, Ahsoka and Anakin get pulled onto this planet, and what the Father is trying to do is to have Anakin take his place as the balance, as the chosen one is supposed to.
Because he knows that he can no longer control his son, essentially, right? He knows he can no longer keep his son's will of the dark side at bay. Yeah,
because his son had been, like, his power had been growing. I believe he had tried to attack the daughter at one point.
Well, no, dude, let's just get to it. It eventually, the way this culminates is the son tries to kill the father.
Yeah.
But the daughter, being one of the light, steps in front of the father. Therefore, the light side of the Force loses, and the dark side reigns supreme.
Which is, if you follow canon, that's when the rise of the Empire happens.
And again, Anakin also, at that point, did not take on his perceived role of being the balance and the chosen one.
Yeah, so that's kind of the whole thing, was that this was the function of the chosen one. Him being the chosen one, nobody knew what it meant, but this was his calling. It was
literally to play mediator between the embodiment of the dark side and the light side in corporeal form.
Yeah, and the father, like you said, the father just couldn't control his son anymore, and he knew that he needed somebody powerful to step in, like Anakin, somebody who could control his fury.
Well, and again, I haven't even made it to this episode yet. I believe it's in season 3 when it happens, but I do believe it's not like the father is dying and he just needs a random replacement. No. It is the fact that Anakin is the chosen one and he is strong enough to be the mediator.
Yeah, he's not like crippled or anything like that. He's just his time has come. It's like his time to pass the mantle has come, and
who knows how many of thousands of years he served as the balance? But, it's
now
over.
At that point, the chosen one had come to maturity. He couldn't do it earlier because Anakin would have been too young, and at that time period, like you said, I think you're right. It probably was season 3. Anakin had reached kind of his level of maturity that he needed in his physical form and his mental capacity to take this role on. And he refused to. He refused to do it because of his calling that was, back.
Well, I think Ahsoka had a lot to do with it too, because he had to save her for something.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go back.
I believe he chooses
again.
to save her over taking the responsibility.
Yeah, because something does happen, because Ahsoka was there,
and he's probably thinking of Padme too, because at this point they're already married. I mean, the Clone Wars takes place from the end of 2 before the beginning of 3, technically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this.
Yeah. So, anyways, the whole point of it is these people are coming back in the next hour block of Rebels, which is probably going to be it's going to air before you're probably listening to this, so I guess it makes no sense. But either way, even if you've watched the episode and you didn't know about it, at least now you know that there is a connection between those characters and the Clone Wars, so that they just didn't come out of anywhere. But it appears that on Lothal, which is where all the action's taking place in Rebels' final episodes, both Ezra, who is still kind of recovering from the loss of Kanan, and the Empire are going to be milling around the Lost Jedi Temple on Lothal. And within it, there's a clear mural painting of the father, the son, and the daughter.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that they included that in the official press materials for this week, because I get those now that I got approved for Celebration last year, which is awesome.
Nice.
But anyways, yeah, so there's a clear, prominent shot of the father, son, and daughter in this Jedi temple. So I just thought it was interesting. Like, I mean, I'm intrigued to see how much Rebels goes into it. I mean, are they just going to be like, oh, what the hell's that? Oh, yeah, it's just this legend that silly Jedi used to have. Those dummies are all dead. Or will Ezra get some sort of deeper learning out of it or meaning out of it?
Yeah, that's what I'm interested in, is how Ezra interacts with it. Like, is he going to get some sort of vision, or is he going to, like, be able to draw any sort of knowledge from this? Like, is he going to be able to tell that the Force is out of balance now, or, you know, something like that? So that's kind of where my interest is peaked at, is Ezra's interaction with it.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, again, them wiping out Kanan, literally the first episode back from break was I think a lot of people kind of figured that some of these characters weren't going to make it, just because it wouldn't make sense that you'd have these standout all-stars in the Rebellion not even being present in episodes 4, 5, and 6. They've already managed to incorporate Hera into it. I mean, she's confirmed to make it through Jedi, through the Battle of Endor, in fact. But no one else outside of Chopper, obviously, has been confirmed. So, I mean, I think people figured that we were going to lose a few of the Rebels, but...
I mean, particularly Ezra. I mean, something has to happen with him.
Yeah, I mean, he's another one. I mean, he's essentially... I think he's probably a little older than Luke. Maybe 5-10 years max. I wouldn't even say 10. I don't even think he's that. But, I mean, he's around Luke's age, naturally gifted in the Force... A trained Jedi at this point for what Jedi are. I mean, they don't do trials and shit, just like Luke didn't have to. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see Ezra making it, or he either does something and he just kind of disappears. I mean, there's an argument to be made that they still haven't really settled Ahsoka's ultimate destiny. So there's room for that to be played out in the few remaining episodes, but. I'm telling you, man, anyone listening, this show's legit. There's been some great content in 4 years. Last year, you had the confrontation with Obi and Maul, which was fantastic. And then the fact that we had this major character die and the way he died, and it was beautiful. I mean, for a cartoon, again, it floored me. It killed me. So, yeah, don't be like Nick.
Don't be like me, people. Trust me. I hear Matt talking about this fucking show all the time, and the fact that I don't have Disney XD as a killer definitely inhibits my ability to watch it. But also my laziness of being a shitty TV watcher while shit is live is another inhibiting
Well,
factor.
I mean, if anything, just you need to take one for the team and sacrifice a few birthday or Christmas presents and just have someone buy you the Blu-rays at this point.
Yeah, I'll have to look to see how much the box sets are.
Just get yourself season 1 through 3, or like you said, maybe wait till 4's done and see if they release a box set. Even if you have to import it from the UK because they're always cheaper and they work anyways. You need to do it. I mean, I'm telling you, I would not send you down this path unless it was worth it.
Oh yeah, this isn't like you coming out of your first screening of episode 2 and losing your mind.
Exactly. Yeah, this is me wearing my costume with a lightsaber at episode 2, thinking it was great because we saw Yoda with a lightsaber.
Yeah. So
I did. I'm not gonna lie. I literally hoed myself out for that on local news.
It's recorded. It's in history. People will find that.
It's out there somewhere.
But yeah, dude. I mean, Rebels is one of those things. I mean, I've seen the first season in its entirety. I saw I believe it was the first 2 or 3 episodes of season 2.
Speaking of which, and this ties back to our discussion with the father, son, and daughter. Do you notice how much the first Inquisitor looks like the son?
Yeah,
with the face paint, it's almost identical.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
So it's almost like that Inquisitor kind of maybe
foreshadowing.
Yeah, like or worshipped or studied the son.
Yeah, I mean, you would figure that trained
any dark side, like any. I mean, yeah, you would think Snoke, Palpatine, maybe even Vader had knowledge of the son. Well, clearly Vader did. Fuck, I'm an idiot. I mean, he met the son.
Yeah, he was there. He was on the planet with him.
Yeah, duh.
But yeah, dude. I mean, that now that you bring that up, the resemblance is very, very.
It's damn near spot on. Like they almost look like the same species of character.
Yeah, that's why I'm really interested to see Ezra's interaction with this, because I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't want to say that he's going to be the one to take up the mantle of the balance, because I don't think that's going to happen. It would be very weird, but it would put a stamp on the importance of that, and that would also give a very interesting wrap up to his character outside of just like some weird death.
I mean, and even just think about what Johnson did in The Last Jedi. I mean, he essentially took the Force back from these midichlorians again and said, no, it's literally this balance between dark and light forces. It's that push, it's that tension you feel, that force you feel between the good and the bad, the light and the dark.
Yeah, so I think it would be pretty fucking cool if Ezra's ultimate fate was to take up the mantle as the balance between these two forces of nature.
I mean, if you want to get far out, you could conjecture that he takes the place of the daughter and resumes the side of the light.
He could, yeah, he could. And then I don't know if dead Jedi can hold a place in that structure, but it would be kind of cool if he did, take up the mantle of the light, and then Kanan was the one who was the balance. That would be cool.
I mean, I still think it's going to be more of a lesson in the Force to Ezra.
Yeah.
To probably help him officially get over Kanan's death and get him back on track, but that's really the main reason I wrote an extended piece on it, is because I recognize the callback to the Clone Wars and the importance these characters play to the dynamic of the Force. So I'm interested to see what happens, and clearly next cast we'll probably talk about it, because we're going to get the episodes coming up here on Monday, the 6/7. Yeah, well, shit, it's already Saturday my time, so 26, Monday the 26th on Disney XD.
Yeah, 3 days, 2 days away, people. Get ready.
Again, by the time you're listening to this, it'll be in the future anyways, so it'll be in the past. But
yeah,
trust me,
it'll give you some context.
If you skipped it, just watch it. We'll summarize the next episode on the next cast. All right, dude. Well, I think we've kind of navigated the Star Wars news waters that we had pulled up in our tabs here in our browsers. So let's go ahead and put this episode of Star Wars Time to bed. Anything I missed?
We hit everything, man. I think we covered it.
Rock and roll. So until next time, my friends, May the Force be with you always.